buddy brought me a massive maple burl so I could hollow it out and he could make a base for a pendant light out of it. The size of this burl is impressive. It's 52 centimeters or 20.5 inches tall and 50 centimeters or 19.7 inches wide. Never done anything like this before, but figured I'd give it a shot. First, I hit it with a pressure washer to blast off all the dirt, loose bark, and punky wood. That thing is great for ripping out all the weak fibers right away so you don't waste time messing with that crap later on the lathe. After letting the burr sit for 2 weeks in a well-ventilated spot, it was time to start shaping. I grabbed my Kutzal extreme coarse shaping dish and went to town, removing as much of the remaining rotten wood as possible. I wanted to get down to solid wood before starting the actual hollowing. Right after I started, I realized one side was seriously out of balance. No way was I going to be able to spin this thing at any decent speed, so I decided to waste some material and get the blank as balanced as possible. After about half an hour of prep work, I screwed on the faceplate. While tightening the screws, I could already tell there was a huge risk. The wood was super punky and soft, and the screws were barely holding. Sure enough, once I mounted it on the lathe, several screws immediately pulled out and the piece tilted. The chance of this thing becoming a flying projectile was way too high, so I bailed on the faceplate idea. Well, I had to resort to another trick. I decided to glue a 2 centimeters thick oak board onto the burl using construction adhesive sticks, so I could later mount the faceplate to that instead. After generously coating everything with glue from all sides, I started screwing in the screws again. This time it held solid. Now it was time to see if the burl would stay on this glue joint. As you can see, the idea completely failed. The piece flew off after just a few seconds of testing on the lathe. Damn. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give up on turning this thing and find another way to hollow it out. I really didn't want to quit and disappoint my buddy, so I ended up committing to a long manual hollowing process using an angle grinder and an Arbortech mini carver tool. With the Kutzall Extreme Coarse shaping dish, I started hogging out the main bulk of the wood. The goal was to get as close as possible to the final wall thickness and leave the last centimeter to be cleaned up with the Arbortech. I also needed to make a through hole for the power cord. I didn't want to just drill a random hole. I wanted it to blend in naturally with the existing voids and cavities in the burl. So I started digging out the punky wood in the center core and gradually opened up a natural looking passage. On one side it looks completely organic and not man-made, while still giving me a perfect channel to run the lamp cord through later. When the angle grinder becomes too awkward to use inside the cavity, it's time for the Arbortech to take over. The mini carver tool turned out to be an excellent choice for this job. Not only can you easily reach almost any spot inside and outside, but you can also make small controlled cuts to mimic a natural look on the final form. With light vertical cuts, it removes excess material beautifully while creating a really nice textured surface that looks completely organic. To hang the pendant light, I'm going to create a flat base inside the burr where I can attach a round metal plate. That plate will then connect perfectly to the chain. If I give both the metal plate and the chain a rusty, aged finish, it should look like the perfect solution for this kind of lamp base. After I've carved away everything that doesn't belong and I'm happy with the overall shape, the last step is to clean up the areas where the punky wood has torn fibers. For that, I'll use a Dremel fitted with a soft abrasive wheel. It won't leave a perfectly smooth surface, but that's exactly what I want. The texture it creates blends naturally with the carving marks left by the mini carver, giving everything a consistent, organic look. Now let's move on to the base. At some point this burl was cut off with a chainsaw, and that flat saw cut really takes away from the natural appearance of the lamp. It needs to be reshaped so it flows naturally with the burl's bumps, hollows, and contours. I've decided to hollow this area slightly. I think that will give it the most natural appearance while eliminating the obvious flat saw cut surface. I've got an unfortunate crack here. I don't want to fill it with glue, so instead I'm going to incorporate it into the design by adding some texture around it. Once the carving is finished, I'll go over it lightly with the abrasive to soften the tool marks and blend everything together. Even though there's still plenty of punky wood that simply can't be removed or sanded perfectly smooth, I'd call the final result a success. The torn fibers, the natural burl formations, and the texture left by the mini carver all complement each other, creating an organic look that suits this hanging lamp perfectly. It will eventually be suspended from a chain with a rusted finish, and I felt that applying any finish inside or out would take away the natural character I wanted to preserve. So this is where the project ends. I won't be applying any finish, either inside or outside. I'll leave the wood exactly as nature made it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and share your own experiments. Constructive criticism is always welcome.